Marble Hornets. What'd you think? 10
I I
minutes.
I sat down at my computer after I got home from work, very excited to watch this episode, and I'd seen on Twitter, I got the email that it was released. And in my TweetDeck app, I can go to a person's profile and look at their mentions. So I went to Marble Hornets and looked at the mentions to see what people had replied about the episode, and I saw a bunch of comments about it was scary. And I was like, okay, cool. So I got home, sat down on my computer, made sure I was loading the video in HD, put it on full screen, and then watched it without a break. And it is a 10-minute episode, so you have to sit there and stare for a while. And I think that was the correct way to watch this particular entry.
I had to take my earphones out.
Yeah?
I've watched it multiple times at this point, but the first time I was watching it, so I got home really, 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 really late last night, and at like
You're like, yeah, let's watch Marble Hornets.
it was like 1:30, and I was exhausted, and it was like I'm subscribed to the Marble Hornets channel, so I get the emails,
Right.
and it was like, oh, email Marble Hornets 60, and I'm like, oh, damn it.
You gotta know.
Okay, we were asking for it, so it's like I can't not. I mean, we're gonna do the podcast on Sunday. I gotta watch this thing, and I want to know, so I watch this thing. I noticed that the text at the beginning was not on a title card. By the way, I don't know if that's meaningful in any way, but like, whatever.
He's done that a couple times,
Not a
mostly in the third season.
Yeah, it was the first episode of the second season, the first episode of the third season. He doesn't do that a lot, so I was like, ooh, this is weird. This is weird. Immediately, I'm like, this is weird. And the whole episode, I'm like, oh, this is so weird. He goes into the freaking thing, which I don't know why. I'm sure we both were thinking it. We didn't say that the hallway in reference
looked like the pipe.
It should have been that.
Yeah.
We should have said, like, it's probably that. And it was. But, we're dumb and we didn't think of it, so. Or we didn't say it. So it was that.
Yeah, it was that thing.
It
was that hallway that the hooded figure escaped into.
Right. So, Jay decides to go down there.
He first goes through the hospital and he walks into a room that says, what did the first wall say?
The first wall said he
lies. He lies.
The second one said follow me.
Follow me. And he knows why he's there. He's announced that he was going back to the hospital. So at this point we're assuming that the person or people who are tracking Jay are tracking everything. So they know he's coming back. Mm-hmm. So they leave a note for him to follow them, and he knows that the place that they mean is where the hooded figure disappeared the last time he was there with Tim.
Yep. So he goes out the sort of way that the hooded figure would have gone, and it leads toward that little shed kind of thing, and there's the maintenance shaft.
Mm-hmm.
In real life, like, where was this?
I don't know. I don't even understand what this.
There?
I don't understand what any of these locations are. Like, I don't understand why there's a giant burned out building that is like completely demolished, but they're shooting there. That's amazing. And then this like vertigo inspiring hallway is the most bizarre thing. He can't stand up in it.
You know what it made me think of? Half-Life 2.
I did too. I actually thought
flashlight?
I was like, this is a scene from a video game, and I feel just as scared as if I were the one controlling the camera right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So he wanders through this maze. Takes a long time, and they build tension with that effectively. Thank you. Blah, 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 blah. But it takes a long time. Minutes pass by. And then he gets to an end-ish.
First, he encounters footsteps.
Well, there's footsteps through the whole thing. But yeah.
Someone's walking around near him.
Above him, near him, I don't know. It's probably Alex. I don't know. Footsteps. He's making his way through. He finds a dead end it looks kind of lived in, like there's stuff there.
Yeah.
And oh my God, there's a doll just like from the first season.
Was it Seth's house?
I think it was Brian's house.
Brian's, yes, you're right. Brian's house had the like labyrinthian part where he kept wandering through a hallway that just kept looping around, and that
And he ended up at the at
the
another
pumping
place.
station or whatever.
Yes,
And it had that doll, a doll that looked just like it.
that's the only other time we saw that doll. Marker there. I don't know what that means, but the only time we saw that doll. And there was a folder with, I think it had an operator symbol
Yes, it
on it
did.
and lies on it, or like his lies.
His
or
lies.
His lies. He opens it up. It's Tim's pediatric medical. I've seen some screenshots of this. It's like pediatric medical admission from like 1995, uh, of him, blah blah, something. We don't know, but like supposedly this has information about how Tim was lying about something. It has to do with hospitals and whatever. This is probably a big deal. Big deal. And then, and then.
So remember last week when we were all like, man, we haven't seen the operator in forever.
Apparently he can like contort himself and squirm around in like little hallways. He's there. Oh my God, it was really scary.
He's kind of all over the place.
Oh Jesus, it was so scary. I mean, this is one of the best operator appearances in the series. So scary. He's just right there behind him. He's like inches from Jay. And right up in his face when he turns the camera around, and oh jeez.
It's
I
one
don't
of the
know.
first times I think that we've gotten a really clear picture of his face, which we know is not a face. We know that it's blank, but
It's like a gray
we
sock.
got like a full-on
Mm-hmm.
face shot of him, I think, for the first time.
Yeah. And Jay scrambles and runs, and he even says in the title cards that he doesn't even know how he got away.
Yeah, it's just the entire memory of the escape is a blur for him. He doesn't really remember what happened.
Which makes me think things, Shawn. It makes me think things.
You got some theories knocking around?
I don't know, maybe. Did he let him get away?
Well, I really feel like he could have kept him there if he wanted to.
I think so too. I think so too.
So why did he scare him out?
I don't know. I don't know. I have thoughts. I don't know. I don't necessarily want to get into all of them, but
I think that
who's the bad guy? Who's the bad guy?
That's exactly. I think we've been misled.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've been thinking for a very long time that Alex has been the antagonist,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe he is an antagonist. But I think that this entire story is probably stemming from Tim. And maybe it's not his fault, or maybe it is. But I think the important thing is Tim doesn't know.
Sure.
Or if he does, he's a really good actor. Better than we've
Well,
given him credit for.
Tim is a good actor. Yeah. So something that came up in my head was Paranormal Activity. We're both fans.
Mm-hmm.
Katie and her sister were troubled. Before you saw the third movie, you knew that they were troubled by some force when they were younger, and then it manifests itself later in their lives.
Yeah.
We are led to believe by To the Ark that Alex may have been troubled by the operator when he was young. But then we get this head fake of maybe it's Tim. Maybe it was Tim all along. And yeah, I think that at this point, there's also, I've been reading the unfiction forums on this, obviously. There's a huge number of people saying, like, well, is it Maskey who, like, is Maskey an alternate personality of Tim who is trying to, like, help or do something with Jay, and Tim doesn't even know about it, and he's blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just like, I don't know I don't know who to trust anymore.
Which is probably what they want to happen.
They're pretty good.
I think at this point they want to try and turn the series on its head, and I think that they've done a good job of doing that in the last 2 episodes, where in the first one Tim becomes aware of the entire game via the internet, like where the entire game is, and then now this like new thing where we don't understand exactly who the bad guy is. If Tim is the one who all that information is on down there, and they deliberately led Jay to it with all this stuff about lies, who's the one who led him there?
And who's the liar?
So they just gave us a lot to think about, basically, and no more answers again.
And also, Jay said that he's going to take a break, which I think might mean that we're not going to get another episode for a while. And out of game, there are reasons for that too.
Is he going to the beach or something?
Well, they've tweeted about how Tim is not really super available, and Joseph is doing more music gigs and stuff. Like their lives are getting kind of crazy, and
no wonder they're trying to finish it in this season.
They gotta finish it this season. This would break them. This would be like think about if you and I had started something like this 5 years ago, and we were trying to continue it now. Oh my god, how would we ever do it?
I don't know.
Like, let's say we went to school together and graduated, and then 5 years passed. Like, that's crazy. No way. No way.
I graduated 4 years ago. I don't talk to anyone I graduated with.
And it's like hard enough for us to set aside like 3 hours a week to just talk hundreds of miles away from us. And they have to film this stuff. It's crazy.
So anyway, we're scared. Good job, Marble Hornets crew.
Well done. Well, we're gonna do some more Christopher Nolan stuff. Let's see. I wonder if Dave has any opinions about Insomnia. Did you like that? Did not like that? Did you like Insomnia?
I loved Insomnia, especially because even though I've seen it before, I seem to have forgotten just about every important detail about the movie. I didn't even remember that Hilary Swank was in it until we looked it up last week.
I tweeted this. The opening credits are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I could just watch that as a YouTube video. It's about like the blood and the carpet and the edits. I knew right then, I'm like, wow, this is great.
And you have a feeling that they're telling you a story, like a prologue, without telling you anything. And they are.
Yeah. Well, and this story, you almost need to watch this movie, read the Wikipedia page, and then watch it again. Because it can be hard to follow at times because they just sort of go.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different from Memento. They're not being intentional with like telling you things. It's just like go, go, go. And the story is excellent, I thought.
It's kind of like, it
excellent.
Feels like a noir, like you start off with this like detective feeling, but at no point is there actually much mystery. Like, you are given things. When the killer eventually comes around, you know it's the killer. There's absolutely no mystery about it. You're just like, oh, well, there he is.
Right. Well, and the mystery for us is whether or not Dormer shot
Hap
on purpose. That's the mystery. And Finch is like, no, I saw you do it. You aimed and killed him. Like, all of the different parts of the story are like the real mystery. The noir is in Dormer's head.
Yeah.
It's whether or not, like, does he or doesn't he believe? Does he or doesn't he not know whether he killed Hap on purpose? Because he totally had motive to kill him. Oh, by the way, there are spoilers in this movie. Or in this podcast. Spoilers. Let's back up.
No one's dead. Everyone's fine.
It happens in the first, 20 minutes, though.
Right, which is exactly why it feels like such an anti-mystery.
Right. So this is a movie starring Al Pacino and some other people. I didn't really know any of them. Did you know any of them? Hilary Swank.
I recognize Maura Tierney from, I guess, from TV. Is she?
I don't know.
She's from Parenthood. She's on Parenthood.
Okay, so it's a movie starring Al Pacino and Hilary Swank, and Robin Williams is a star, but he doesn't get introduced until like an hour into the movie.
Yeah, I checked. It was like 55 minutes in. And actually, that's not even when he appears on screen. It's when his voice appears.
Sure. So Al Pacino, Dormer, and his partner Hap get sent to Alaska to night mute? I don't know. To some tiny...
The halibut fishing capital of the world.
The halibut
Someone points that out.
In Alaska to assist with some investigation of like a girl who's killed. And
we find out very early that they were kind of pushed out of LA because they are under investigation by internal affairs.
yeah, isn't that interesting how IA like constantly comes up in Christopher Nolan movies? Like in Dark Knight, The Dark Knight. So yeah, Dormer is under the cloud of internal affairs, and Eckert tells him, are they on a plane or a helicopter? A plane. He's like, hey, I got a deal. If I like say some things, I gotta take it because you know, my family and whatever.
Right. He's thinking about his career, and he's got a long time to go. He's not an old guy.
And Dormer's an older guy.
Right.
Dormer's like, you can't do that, man. I'm Al Pacino. Like, don't do that, you know, whatever. So
you're gonna take me down with you.
Right. They start this investigation, and it goes very quickly. Oh my God. One of my favorite moments in this movie is Pacino. I can't remember the exact details, but it's like, let's like take the kid out of school right during the middle, and
Yeah.
we'll freak him out, and like what time is it? And Hillary Swank was like, it's like 10:58. It's like, let's go right now. We'll take the kid out of the middle of school and we'll freak him out, and let's go. And Hillary Swank is like, what are you talking about? And it's like, let's go right now, like I said. And she's like, it's 10:58 at night. He's like, oh.
Yeah. The movie doesn't express to you how close they are to the Arctic Circle until it comes in conflict with the character's motivations.
Yes, and then
you don't realize it until he does.
Yes, and then that becomes a hugely important part of this story. They eventually do get the kid out of school, and they grill him and whatever. And Pacino is such a good cop.
Yeah,
like
he is.
Like kind of a bad guy cop.
One of my favorite movies and one of the only 3 Blu-ray discs that I own is Heat, because Pacino and De Niro in that movie are just insane.
It's a good movie. Oh, I mean, like, Godfather.
Yeah.
And Godfather 2. I mean, you broke my heart.
I was just thinking of another cop role for him.
Dog Day Night.
Dog Day Afternoon.
Or Afternoon, whatever, yeah.
Sometime of day.
Sometime of day. Dog Day, I don't know what time it is because it's the Arctic Circle and the lights are always out. This is great for Christopher Nolan because he took a story that this had already been told. It was like a Norwegian movie.
1997 Norwegian film.
He basically Nolan got to practice his craft with a great story and a bunch of great actors. I almost feel like we're telling the story of how Christopher Nolan gets to direct The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
You know? And if it ends up being bad, I'm so sorry, everyone, because we're working hard on this, telling the story of Christopher Nolan. Like Memento, we haven't done following yet, but like Memento was not a huge budget, and the actors in it, you know, are not huge, big name actors, and it was Nolan kind of telling a complex story and kind of learning how to tell a complex story. And then this was him, without any gimmicks, doing the same thing but with much bigger actors,
telling a very tight thriller.
Right, and that's why that's why I say you kind of like need to watch the movie, read the Wikipedia, watch it again, because you can miss things. They kind of like, if you don't like follow it, it's like, oh yeah, there was this IA thing, I've already forgotten about that. Anyway, they get a lead. They get a clue.
They
Um,
find her bag, the
yeah,
victim's bag.
yeah. So they do this stakeout. This is sort of this is the central component of the movie.
Right.
There's fog,
Yeah, this is a bad pursuit. If you're ever
and that
a cop in this situation, this is where communication between your squad members is really important.
yeah, they fan out over everywhere. So I mean, keeping in mind, Dormer has every reason to not want Hap to tell his story or to live.
Yeah.
And Nolan shows Pacino with his, with his gun out, or like got the camera at him. He's like, got his eyes squinting, he can't see. He's moving his gun around, and he sees something move, and we see it from Pacino's perspective, from Dormer's perspective. He can't quite see what it is, and he shoots. Boom, and the guy falls down.
Cool, we got him, right?
Got him.
Guys, I got him.
It was a short movie. And then he walks up to the guy, and it's Hap. He shot Hap, and like he shot him good. Like
Yeah,
died.
he did not shoot to wound for some reason. He got him right in the chest.
And Hap is just like, this is not a good death.
No, Hap instantly jumps to the conclusion that he did it on purpose, which instantly puts that in our heads.
And in Dormer's head.
And in Dormer's head.
Right.
The way that they edited it is so quick that they make no drama out of it. They don't make it like this really tense situation. Like he just fires, and then the guy goes down,
boom.
and then he walks up, and he's like, "Oh." And so you don't. There's no way for you to tell what actually happened because it's just so quick.
Right. Well, in Dormer's head, this was an accident. We're led to believe he thinks it's an accident,
Right.
and he now has to cover himself up. And all of his actions throughout the rest of the movie are 100% consistent with covering up his trails because he thought it was an accident, or covering up his trails because he actually did it on purpose.
Because those things are the same thing.
They're the same thing. And then I told Shawn I don't have a lot to say about this movie. The biggest thing that I have to say about it is that the sunlight, the perpetual daylight that causes Dormer's insomnia is his guilt, shining down on him. And it causes him, this movie plays a lot with like insanity and grief and guilt. And so I guess it's the Dutch who came up with the idea, but it was like so smart to think of like, yes, like let's have this thing in the dark, this thing in the darkness of your soul, and then have perpetual light shining down on you. And then the whole movie plays out from there. And there's I guess in 1999? Oh, 2002. Yeah, in 2002, Hilary Swank was still not like a really, really big name actress, that she could really believably be kind of like the novice detective learning from
The Nancy Drew, as they continued to call her over and over. At one point, Alicia was like, "Why are they so mean to her?" And I was like, "Because she is Nancy Drew.
She's like, I'm gonna
That's
solve.
the way she acts." And that's also the reason that I think Dormer could have closed the case on himself by signing off on her report. And I think he didn't sign off on it immediately, not only because he had a guilty conscience and maybe somewhere his subconscious was like, I want to be found out, but also because she is a Nancy Drew and he didn't want it on her record that her first like simple little case was a huge fabrication because she was fooled by another detective.
I think that's really good insight.
I think he wanted her to succeed because he saw how good she could be.
Well, and
I felt like I got like kind of a Clarice Starling like
Yeah.
vibe with
There,
her.
there's the whole middle of the movie where we get introduced to Robin Williams, and he's basically he blackmails Dormer.
Right. I know what you
Um,
did last summer.
yeah, he blackmails him through the whole thing. But like when, spoiler alert, when they shoot each other at the end, uh, um, what's Hilary Swank's character's name?
Ellie.
Ellie. Burr. When Burr comes like sweeping up to find, Finch is dead, and Dormer shot him with the shotgun, and he's down the water, and Burr finds him, and Dormer's shot. She had found that casing
Right.
at the site, and she knew that that was from not the same gun that had been from the first shot. She knew it was like a 9mm casing, and the other one was something
It was from whoever they were chasing, and
Yes.
that did not match the bullet that killed Hap.
right. So she's got that.
Why would the guy have had two different guns?
Right, and it's basically proof, and Dormer has a 9mm, and it's basically proof that Dormer shot Hap. Oh, and and before that, he had already confessed to Burr that he doesn't even know, like, what his motives were. Like, he's crazy. He's
Right.
like, I don't even
She
know
walks
anymore.
right in, accuses him, and asks him if it's true,
And he says he doesn't even know.
and
Maybe,
he says he doesn't know.
right, and then they have this confrontation with Finch, and they're shooting each other, and they do shoot each other. Finch is dead, and this is literally the very end of the movie. Dormer is lying on like a dock, dying, bleeding, and Burr is like trying to comfort him. She's like, well, like I don't think you did it on purpose. And he's thinking about all the things he's done. He has fabricated evidence to put someone in jail.
Yeah.
Confess that to the hotel lady. I don't know her name.
And we're given the impression that he always does it if he's done this before, he's done it for the right reasons, but we've also seen him cover up the murder of his partner. Maybe he's not always done it for good reason. Like, we have no idea what this could mean for his career.
Right, and I mean, like, just...
He might be just as crazy as Finch.
Yeah. I mean, like, watching him call Hap's wife and tell him what happened, and then he goes outside and he throws up, but then he goes back to his apartment, like his hotel or whatever, and he hides the gun. It's like, it's up and down and up and down, and what am I supposed to believe?
Right.
And we're right there. We're right on the edge. We're right at the end. And Burr clearly wants to comfort him because he's dying. He's going to die. And I think they both know that. And she, like, pulls out the little thing.
The little evidence bag with the casing.
Right. And she's like, no one has to know. And she's about to, like, throw it in the lake. And he just, like, Dormer, like, puts his arm up. And he's like, no, don't lose yourself. And then he's just like, just let me sleep. This whole movie has been him like, I can't sleep, or I can't, get past.
I can't be comforted. I can't be restful with everything that I have done.
Right. Now he knows, like, or maybe he doesn't know whether he did it or didn't, but he knows that he doesn't know. He knows that there is some sort of uncertainty,
and he's gonna die, so it might as well be that she breaks the case and gets her Nancy Drew moment.
Yeah.
And starts a good career, because he clearly admired her.
Yes. And she does. She puts the casing back in the thing.
Case closed.
And she's going to break the case and basically have solved everything, both of the girl and...
Yeah, she ended up solving two cases.
Two cases. The girl, Kay, and the Hap crime, and boy, what, like, terrible purpose for her, like, this was her big case.
Yeah.
And not Hap, Dormer was her idol, she says, like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, when they meet, she just gushes about his record.
And throughout the movie, more and more, she becomes less trustful of him and begins to understand.
She's like, oh, this is what my heroes are like in real life.
Think about that when we talk about Batman Begins, because this is a much more, maybe not subtle, but more intimate uh, telling of like what are people like in real life.
Mm-hmm.
But like Batman Begins is like what are heroes like in real life, and
Yeah.
that's what this movie is about. Like heroes are complicated, and sometimes they fabricate evidence to put pedophiles in jail, and are blackmailed by
Other murderers.
and genies. Okay, so what are we doing next week?
Well, I think we should knock out the only movie we have left on Netflix streaming and go backwards to Christopher Nolan's student film.
And that is Following.
Following. It is a very short movie. It's 70 minutes or something like that. And it kind of feels like a student film just because it's cheap. But I think it's got some very interesting philosophical ideas in it. And it's pretty cool to see a movie made entirely by a dude. He didn't write the movie, but he shot it, he edited it, he produced it, he directed it. It's like the Orson Welles, like, I can hold every torch kind of thing. Looking forward?
Um, we'll see if we'll see. I might find it pretentious, like Dave.
Give me a level.
Ready, steady, Eddie. That's something that no one says.